So, hello everyone again. Yes, it's been a while since I've made a video, and I apologize for that. But um, I'll just say there's some things going on in the background that I'm trying to get resolved and figure out, and I don't want to talk about that experience yet until we make some more progress on it. So, it's been the focus of most of my struggle, my learning, for at least since December. But I don't want to talk about it yet until we figure out exactly what's going on with this. So I'm not going to discuss that, but I figured I would talk about shadow figures today and my experiences with them, since I've had a couple. So let's dive in. Um, for those of you who don't know, a shadow figure is a dark entity that haunts a place, occupies a place. Um, if you've ever watched Amy Allen talk about them, the medium, she was on Dead Files. She's had more than her first experience was with a shadow person when she was very young. And they are evil, malintent. They are here to cause disruption and pain, and they are not good. But even she says we don't know what they are or where they come from. It's some sort of interdimensional being, but we don't know. It's not a demon per se. It's just this thing that comes and occupies a space. So, anyway, Amy talks about her first experience, how it, at age 5 or 6, I think, it caused her to play with some electrical equipment and get a shock. And then she learned that these things are not kind. They're not there to help us. So she learned that lesson. I've had a similar experience when I was younger. Um, I took a pair of scissors. I had a radio in my bedroom growing up and plugged into the outlet in the wall. And for whatever reason, I took a pair of steel scissors and I cut through the live electrical cord. Fortunately, I did not get electrocuted, but it shorted and blew the circuit breaker. So I had to reset the circuit breaker. That might have been shadow person. It may have been just negative influence. Could have been a spontaneous thought. I'm not exactly sure, but it's kind of eerie that that was a very similar experience to hers, and just instantaneous, spontaneous, um, not so great action to take. So anyway, um, when I moved here to Illinois 12 years ago. Of course, I found some local mediums to get readings with, and I'm in an apartment complex, and I'm upstairs. There's neighbors below, neighbors to the side, neighbors behind, 8 apartments in this building, and buildings next door. I went to a medium up in Elgin area, and he told me, as part of the reading, that there was a shadow figure wandering my neighborhood and to watch out for it. Uh, okay, who brought that on? So then I started thinking, who in the neighborhood might be using the Ouija board, practicing black magic, evil thoughts, who knows? But anyway, there was a shadow figure in the neighborhood. And unfortunately, I got confirmation of that a few different times. Um, One time, which is kind of an observation, I came home, it was dark, I pull into the garage. As I'm driving towards the garage, there's a sidewalk in front of all the buildings and then the parking spaces. And I see this person, like this black shadow person, walking down the sidewalk away from me, away from the building. And I didn't think anything of it because people walk their dogs here all the time. There's always people walking up and down the sidewalk. So I figure, oh, someone's out late walking their dog. I park, get out, go back in, get up to the sidewalk, and there's no one there. It went behind a van and never came back out the other side. So I searched around a little bit, just like, okay, that's odd. There's no other place for it to go. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's the shadow figure. But as my abilities developed, as I became more aware, especially after my mother passed in 2014, I've said in other videos, things started coming to me, and I kind of like woke up to the fact that I have these abilities and I need to do something. It was one particular night I was in bed, and the headboard of my bed faced the window in the bedroom, and I was waking up with like nightmares like every hour on the hour, like midnight, 1, 2. Finally, at 3 a.m., I said, enough of this crap. I got up and I got my tingsha and the sage and the Bible and all my prayers. And I just started just like, whatever's here needs to leave, get out. And I start praying Lord's Prayer, prayer to St. Michael, the Archangel, threw everything at it. As I'm doing, I think it was the prayer to Archangel Michael, all of a sudden, this black orb rises up out of my bed, center of my bed, and then flies out the window. I'm like, I wonder if that was the shadow figure that was manifesting somehow. So I quickly, the next few days, I moved my bed away from the window, salted the window, put the black tourmaline along the window. So I haven't had a problem like that since, but I'm assuming that was the shadow figure trying to manifest somehow, or it was affecting me that night. So that, the nightmares and all that stuff went away, basically. I'd still have, faces and stuff, but not like that, not the evil entity again, not evil nightmares. So that particular case, there was something going on and it needed to be dealt with. And so I think I dealt with it. I've not had a problem with it since. I haven't seen it since, at least in this area. But I have seen other shadows before. Mentioned in my other video, while I was relamping my home church in Connecticut, I was in the kitchen and a black shadow figure poked its head into the kitchen door while I was working on the light overhead. And I, screamed at it. It disappeared after a minute and then reappeared a few minutes later. And said, it went away again. And then during one of my calls with, I'm pretty sure I talked about this. If not, you're going to hear it again. Talking with a local medium that I'm trying to mentor with, help develop. She mentioned a generation. I've mentioned this entity, and she said something. There was a generational curse on. She said it's tied to your great great grandfather who you've talked to. Like, well, I didn't know my paternal great-great-grandfather, but I knew I knew of my mother's side. It was my great-great-grandfather, Moses Barton, who owned the farm up in New Hampshire. And the one we had the other experiences I've done in the other video, we were haunting the house because he was pissed off my grandfather did not inherit the farm. So we walked through an exercise, picture the light, and walk up. She goes, there's a door. We need to open up that door. So we're going to get rid of this thing. Okay, so I open up the door in my mind, and lo and behold, there's that exact same shadow figure from the church in Connecticut with the white dots for eyes and a thin white line for mouth, and it's right there. I'm like, she goes, what? I go, it's that shadow figure from the church. So, well, push through. We're getting rid of this. Push through, push it out. So I start walking through the door in my mind, and as soon as I approach this thing, it just fades. It just disintegrates into tiny little black dots and then just kind of like blows away in the wind. She goes, okay, keep pushing. So we get to a second door, open that, and she says, okay, the generational curse is broken. So that got rid of that one. I had one experience at a hotel. I go to Minnesota occasionally for work, and I would stay in a certain hotel by the office. And one night I went outside at night. I've got my tobacco pipe, so I went out to just hang out outside for a few minutes with the pipe. And as I opened the door, I'm at one end of the hall, probably about all the way down the other end of the hall, the other end of the building. I get out, walk into the hallway, and then I see this black shadow come through the door, the closed door. It's the stairwell door, and then whoosh, go right through the door at the first room on the right at the end of the hall. And I'm like, okay, is that shadow figure? Is that a spirit? Ghost is just sticking around? I don't know what, but got my courage together. I said, I'm not going to let this intimidate me. So I stormed down the hallway to that door and didn't see anything on the way. And I just turned to that door. I don't know if anyone was in that room, but I said, whoever you are, you need to leave. Get out of here. don't bother anyone. You don't belong in this hotel. And then I proceeded to go down and outside, and I didn't see it again for the duration of my stay, another couple nights. That was just interesting. I'm guessing that was more of a spirit than a shadow person. So um, I tend to believe that the shadow people are evil entities. You know, I trust Amy Allen's judgment on this. Um, she's a very gifted medium, knows what she's talking about. But fortunately, I haven't had that kind of encounter. Since I've been centering and I've been practicing and projecting out the light, pushing things energetically away from me, I'm hoping that's formed a barrier, a shield to keep these things away from me. So, except for the one, well, in my last video, I talked about the Oregon Trail. I did see that shadow figure when I was walking up through Scotts Bluff, the gap between the two bluffs. There's the modern highway and then the Oregon Trail. And when I was walking up through that gap in the loose boulders up against the bluff, this very tall shadow figure, very black. This is daylight, 3 p.m. Just kind of rose up out of there, and I turned and look and like, don't follow me. I don't know who you are. You're staying here. And then it just kind of went back down into the rocks again. So I don't know what that was. If that was native, I don't really know. But it's something I am very cautious about, careful with. I don't ask for these things to appear. When they do, I throw up all my protections, get all my guides, everyone I can call on to make sure that it's not going to attach or follow me. You're there, you stay there. I'm not going to interfere with you any further. So if you had a particular experience with a shadow figure, or you've developed strategies to deal with them, let me know in the comments. But I figured I would just share these experiences as a topic because it is something we have to deal with as mediums or psychics. So I'd like to know how other people have dealt with this phenomenon. So, like I said, please let me know in the comments. And on a hopeful note, hopefully in another couple months, I will be able to tell the tale of what is going on behind the scenes right now. And hopefully we'll have a successful resolution on that. But thank you for watching, and look forward to hearing from you. Bye.